Well, do you know what day it is today? What's that? What day is it? That's right! It's Mother's Day. And I thought a really great lesson for you would be to look back through the Bible and see who some of the really amazing mothers in the Bible were, why they were amazing. Because, let's face it, mothers have existed for a really long time. Some of our mothers have existed a little longer than others. Okay, so let's look at some amazing moms in the Bible. We're going to make a craft for your mom, and we're going to show you a few really great breakfasts that you could make for your mom, but just make this day really special because your mom invests a lot in you, even if you don't know it.
Famous mothers of the Bible, to me, there is one super cool mom that I think always has to be mentioned, and that is the mother of Moses. Moses actually had two amazing mothers. Now, picture this. You're in a land where you're a slave, all your people are slaves, and the king says, if anybody has a baby boy, you have to kill it. And Moses' mother, and a lot of the Hebrew mothers actually didn't want to do this, but Moses' mother had the baby in secret. So I think about how she could have done this, right? Because, none of you have been pregnant, but let me tell you, when you get pregnant, your body changes. So she would have grown bigger and bigger and bigger. How could she have hidden that from her masters? And then she would have had to have the baby as quietly as possible. And let me tell you, having a baby is not a quiet thing. So she would have had to be cautious in her pregnancy and then cautious when she was giving birth to him. Then it says in the Bible that she hid him for about 3 months until his crying became so loud that she was worried he'd be found. Because do you know what would happen if they found a 3-month-old baby that was a boy? They would have said, hey, this baby was supposed to be killed when he was born. So she thinks, how can I still hide this child and care for this child? What can I do? So she secrets the baby out of the house down to the banks of the river Nile. And when she gets there, she pulls the reeds out of the river and weaves them together to make a basket for this baby. A basket that won't sink. So she uses like the mud and the clay, and she weaves it really, really tightly together. And then she puts this basket in amongst the reeds that are still growing, like the plants that are still growing tall. She hides the basket in there on the shore of the Nile and goes back to work probably. Because she's not supposed to be off taking care of a baby because she's not supposed to have had a baby, right? So she hides this little baby and she goes away because she has to. Now, babies they're needy. They need to be kept clean. They need to feel safe. They need to be fed. And Moses' mother did not leave this baby alone. She had her daughter, Miriam, watching over the baby. Because things could have happened. The current could have picked up. A wind might have blown the baby out into the middle of the river. Miriam was there to guard her little brother and hide because, she can't be caught watching a baby, right? So Moses' mother has told her daughter, you have to stay here, you have to watch over your brother and keep him safe. Big job for a kid. So she goes off, and the Pharaoh's daughter comes from the palace to bathe in the river, and she sees the basket, and she tells the servant, go get that basket, what's in that basket? And the servant gets the basket, brings it to her, and she says, oh, this is a Hebrew baby. Well, I'm going to raise him. So she doesn't tell her dad, the Pharaoh, that she's found a baby that was supposed to be dead. She doesn't tell the soldiers. You know what she says? She says, oh, little defenseless baby. I'm going to raise him like he's my own. The second amazing mother appears in Moses' life. And at that moment, little Miriam comes up and says, oh, excuse me, Pharaoh's daughter. she's kind of brave because she's a little kid. And she knew that was the Pharaoh's daughter. And she says, hey, this baby, he needs to be fed. And back then they didn't have formula for babies. So if a baby was fed, it was breastfed. And so she says, oh, this baby's going to need to be breastfed. Well, you can't breastfeed a baby if you haven't birthed a child. That's just biology. And so Miriam, smart little Miriam, she says, would you like me to find a Hebrew woman who can come and breastfeed this baby? So Amazing Mother 2, the Pharaoh's daughter, says, oh my goodness, that's right, babies need to be fed. Yes, go and get me a Hebrew woman to breastfeed my baby, and I will raise him in the palace. So clever little Miriam, she goes off. She gets her mother, who is Moses' mother, to come and feed the baby, which means that now Moses' mother can care for Moses under the protection of the Pharaoh's daughter until she has to give him to the Pharaoh's daughter to raise. So 2 strong, brave mothers in Moses' life. And when I think of how smart little Miriam was and what a faithful sister she was, I think that just goes further to show you what a great mother Moses and Miriam had. Because Miriam understood, we don't know how old Miriam is, but we know she's a child. She understood the importance of this little baby because it was her brother. She was clever and smart and brave. And I think that just shows you what a great mom she had. And to me, Moses' mothers, his birth mother and his adopted mother, were both amazing women.
Hi, Hannah.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
So, Hannah, you saw Hannah so many months ago because we did the crunchy compass. Yeah. But you may notice that Hannah is a lot taller now. Hannah is a lot taller now because Hannah just had a birthday. Happy birthday, Hannah. See how big she is? She's totally grown. Wow. Mother's Day is a really nice day to do something really nice for your mom, like make her breakfast. And Hannah is a super helper around her house, and she has 3 amazing breakfast recipes for you so that you can make a fancy breakfast for your mom. Hannah, shall I get some ingredients for you? All right, Hannah, what is our first fancy breakfast?
The chocolate banana chunk muffins.
Yes. How do we prepare muffins in a fancy way for our mothers for Mother's Day?
You need a plate, maybe have some pattern on it, and then you need a muffin.
Oh, whoa. All right. Then what do we do? Well, what a nice Mother's Day breakfast. Hannah's mother's here. I'm just going to deliver this to Hannah's mother.
Wow, that's amazing.
Okay, you cannot talk about amazing mothers of the Bible and not mention these 2. First of all, Eve. Eve had no mother of her own. She was the first mother. Without Eve, there would be no other mothers. So I say, yes, let's show some respect there for Eve, the first mother. Another one that you just kind of have to put on the list of amazing mothers is the mother of Jesus. Of all the women that God could have picked, he picked Mary. Mary, who was a teenager at the time, okay? Now, in their culture, teenagers were getting married all the time. So it's not like it was weird that God picked a teenager, because he had to pick a teenager who hadn't been married and hadn't been with a man yet. So she would have had to be kind of young as a teenager, but she was a teen. And just learning how to be a woman when she's told, hey, you're going to have a baby. You're going to have a baby in a non-traditional way. In fact, if you think about it, if her parents had found out that she was pregnant before she got married to Joseph, they actually could have stoned her. They could have killed her. So it was a risk for Mary, the mother of Jesus. She had to be brave and she had to have faith, such powerful faith, because she says to the angel, I don't see how it's possible that I can birth this baby because I'm not married yet and I haven't been with a guy. And so she has questions, which she asks, which I say it takes a little bravery to go ahead and say to God, hey, you know this thing you want me to do? I have questions. So she asks, and the angel tells her, well, that's because it's not going to be the normal kind of pregnancy, and it's going to be very special. And he explains it to her. And then she says, you know what? What God says should happen. And I'm going to put myself under God's care, and I'm going to be faithful and trust that he's going to keep me safe. So she agrees to carry the Son of God and to raise him. Now, I got to tell you, as a mom, I'd be thinking, everything I do as a parent, God's watching every moment, because that's his son. Although in reality, God watches every kid. God watches how we parent all the time, and we have to be really careful. But I think I would have felt a little bit of extra pressure raising the Son of God. So yes, that's another mother. You kind of have to give a shout out to her.
Are we ready to do fancy breakfast number 2?
Yeah. A bowl. Big mug that's clean. And a spoon. And a berry. And a kettle and hot chocolate.
Now you have seen Hannah make her gourmet hot chocolate once. Now you get to see her make it again. Show us how to make a gourmet bowl of cereal.
You need the bowl.
Pretty bowl.
And you need any type of cereal that your mom may like.
Very key. Your mom should like the cereal you pick.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Maybe you have a hungry mom.
That was unexpected. Maybe this
Hannah's mom really likes
loves
cereal. And what else do we need for a gourmet bowl of cereal?
Milk.
Milk.
See if I can trust myself with this much. Just gonna toss it over. Maybe mix it around a bit. And there you go.
There you go. Now,
there you go.
your Mother's Day breakfast is complete.
That's how you do it.
Happy Mother's Day, Mom. Or maybe it's lunch. Maybe she slept in, or maybe she got up before you did. You could still give her Mother's Day lunch.
Wow, that's amazing.
Well, what kind of craft should we be making for Mother's Day, huh? I have an idea. And this idea was partly inspired by the fact that, first of all, it's like really hard to get anything in the stores right now. But one thing I was able to get was a mirror. And I have to admit that I was a little bit inspired by the mirror on our Remember tree, which is talking about, what God sees is more important than what you see. And I was thinking about this in regards to mothers, because sometimes mothers don't realize how children feel about them, or grandmothers, or mother-in-laws, or adopted parents, right? They work so hard because they love us, but we don't always tell them how we feel. And so we're going to decorate a mirror. And the purpose is to say, what I see in you, mom, grandma, adoptive parent, what I see in you is more important than what you see when you look in this mirror. And so we're going to decorate it. Does she have? Yes, she does. No, that's not. This is it. Marker. Okay. Okay. So when I think of my mother, when she looks at all her children, that she accepts us for who we are and she doesn't judge us. And the word I think of when I think of my mom is the word acceptance. And when my mom looks at herself, not only would I want her to accept the woman that she sees there as being a fantastic woman, but I also want her to know that I recognize that she accepts people for who they are. Okay, on the back, this is the message. And here, you put whatever the word is that you're going to put on the mirror. Acceptance, love, forgiveness, kindness, funniness, friendliness. So I had to look around at what craft supplies I had. Now, of course, I'm here at the church and I have lots of them. So I have these, and I've got a whole bunch of beads, stick-on things, right? My mother's British, so I'm going to start with a crown. So I squeeze a little glue out of my glue gun. Now, if you don't have a glue gun, then you can use white glue. It'll dry a little slower, but that's okay. There we go. So I do a music note. Now, if you don't have these little wooden pieces like I do, you can always cut them out of paper and color them and stick them on as well. So I think I'm going to put something like that, a little house here. Now, I mean, I could do just like that, but this is craft time. Let's do something more fun. Here's the finished product. And on the back, it says, Mom, when I look at you, I see acceptance. Remember that the next time you look in this mirror. 2021, Meredith. All right, pick whatever word you want. We are here for recipe number
3.
That's right. And Hannah, what are we making for our other Mother's Day breakfast?
Pancakes.
Pancakes. Now, pancakes are so much fun because you can put all kinds of different things in a pancake. However, for some of you kids, that means you're going to need an adult to help you because the pancake recipe requires one thing that our other 2 recipes did not, and that is
We didn't cook them.
we didn't cook them, right? And we have to do that with pancakes. So if you are not allowed to operate a stove by yourself, please do not try, all right? If you have an older sibling who can help you, or your dad or a grandparent nearby, ask one of them to give you a hand with the stove. If they aren't, then this is what I'd say. Mix up the pancake batter and then have your mom help you cook them. Somebody needs to help you because we don't want to hear about kids getting hurt. And especially not on Mother's Day because that would be an awful memory for your mother, right? Yeah. All right, so we have this mix. And the only thing you need to do with this mix is to add water. I have to tell you though, Hannah, although it says you just add water, it's not the most yummy pancake. So
Yeah.
I always add other things. Like no matter where I get my mix from, I always add more cinnamon. And I also always add
Vanilla extract.
vanilla extract. You need 1 cup of mix and then 3/4 of a cup of water. Two cups of mix.
I just put it in.
Pour it in.
Oh.
Hannah, I'm going to test you here. So we have 2 cups of mix, right? You need 3/4 quarters of water for every cup of mix. So 2 cups of mix, how much water do you need?
6.
6 quarters. Very good. And 6 quarters is also known as?
1.5.
1.5 cups of water. Excellent. So if you don't have a whisk, you can do a fork. A fork works just as well. We have our pancake mix ready. Now, we have a bunch of ingredients here. We have the basic raisins. Raisins are yummy on and in pancakes. M&Ms. Yum yum. Almond. Again, you could put on or in. We've got sour keys, which we will cut them up. Gummy bears.
Doesn't it look like the Harper gummy bears or something?
Now, Hannah's mom doesn't know about the ingredients. All right, so we'll take a little bit out and put it in this bowl. Now,
Our testing bowl.
Yes. What should we do first?
I think we should try the raisin and almonds together. Ooh, that sounds really nice.
It does smell good. Tell you, a little cinnamon, a little vanilla makes, like most powdered recipes, like boxed recipes, most box recipes makes them excellent. All right, now what one will we do next?
The little gummy bears and the M&Ms.
Food coloring. This doesn't change the flavor of the pancake. Now we're just having a little fun. So what should we put in next, Hannah?
I think we should try the sour keys and maybe go crazy and go sour keys in the raisins. What did I say? I feel like if you mixed the M&Ms with the almonds, it would taste good.
So now we're going to get cooking. Naomi was a great mother-in-law. Do you know the difference between your mother and your mother-in-law? Your mother-in-law is the mother of your husband or wife. So when you get married, like when I got married, I got a new mom and a new dad because I got my husband's mom and dad. And when my husband married me, he got the same. So he got a new mom and dad. And, you know, we got sisters and extra brothers, an extra family that we married into. Now, the story of Naomi, I think it's super cool because she is a Jewish woman and she's from Bethlehem. Who else was from Bethlehem? Jesus. All right. So Naomi is from Bethlehem and she and her husband moved to the country of Moab. And they have 2 sons and her husband dies. So sad. And her 2 sons marry Moabite women. So not Jewish women, Moabite women. And then they die. So there's Ruth, and she has these 2 daughters that she has through the marriages of her sons. And so she decides to move back home because if she moves back home, she might be able to stay with her family or somebody even distantly related to her might be willing to take care of her. But in Moab, there's nobody. So she says to her 2 daughters, Oprah, I think is Oprah is the one, and then the other one is Ruth. And she says to these girls, I tell you what, I have to go. I need to be back with my people, and I am going to tell you that I free you from the obligation that you would have to take care of me because I am now your mother. and I have nobody else. And I say, go find husbands among your people and live good lives. And her one daughter-in-law says, I love you and I bless you. I hope for the best for you. Goodbye. And she stays in Moab. The other daughter, Ruth, says to her, no, you are my mother and I love you. And nothing could keep me from you. Wherever you go, I will go. And whoever your people are, they will be my people. And so they leave Moab and they go back to Bethlehem. And the reason I think that Naomi deserves to be in this list of amazing mothers is because she was an amazing mother-in-law. We don't know what kind of mother she was. We don't hear anything about her relationship with her sons in the Bible. But we do know that both her daughter-in-laws loved her and cared about her. And her one daughter-in-law loved her so much that she left her people and her culture and everything that she had known to go and live with Naomi. And that tells me that Naomi was a fantastic mother-in-law. And then we even read about how when they get to the land of Bethlehem, Naomi helps Ruth to fit in, to learn the ways. And she helps her even to find a new husband. It was all under Naomi's guidance that Ruth was able to find her new husband. I think that shows that she was an amazing mother-in-law. And at one point, Ruth even says, I want your God to be my God. So that shows me that Naomi was a faithful Jew. And she faithfully followed the teachings of her people because Ruth could tell that she didn't worship the God of the Moabites. She worshiped the God of the Jews. And she must have been such a faithful follower of God for Ruth to say, I would give up my God, or gods, because the Moabites would have had gods. She says, yeah, I'd give up my God, my family, my country, because I want to be with you. Now that kind of love is inspired because Naomi was a faithful woman. And to me, a mother-in-law who can inspire that kind of faithfulness deserves to be on that list of amazing mothers, because mother-in-laws are mothers. And you should honor your mother-in-law when you get one, just as you honor your mother.
All right, so Hannah has never cooked on a stove before. So this is what we're going to do. I am going to cook the first one just to show her how. And then she's going to come and show you guys how to do the other ones. So this is a trick my husband actually taught me. The first thing is to heat the frying pan alone just a little bit. So yeah, you just leave that on not too long. Put a little bit of oil. Now you need oil or butter when you are making pancakes. And it can be any oil. This one is sunflower seed oil or sunflower oil. And you can use vegetable oil, you can use coconut oil. Oh, coconut oil, in my opinion, is awesome because then it also flavors your food like coconuts. It's hot enough now. All right.
Oh, I can see your raisin.
I was going to do 2 pancakes, but I didn't. Okay, Hannah, you're up.
See this?
You just gotta watch it and let it.
I'm excited to see what this one's gonna look like.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Here it is. Captured on film forever, your first pancake flip.
Yeah! Oh no.
Your second pancake flip.
That was definitely better.
Beautiful.
Oh, wow. Now let's say that you don't have a pretty mirror you can decorate and you aren't going to be able to go out and get one. So what else could you do for Mother's Day? Well, there's always a card Moms love cards because it means you made an effort. So you find a card and you find some paper in your house and you just decorate it just like this. And you know what you can do if you do not have a mirror? You get a piece of paper and you write. I'm going to do this so you can see the words, I think. There we go. Mom. And then on the inside, you draw the mirror. I always like to put a year because so she'll remember that the year of the pandemic, you made this beautiful card for her. Then you glue those on or whatever you want to do. You just draw whatever you want for Mom. Maybe down here I'll draw an alligator because I like alligators. So you can do the mirror with the message on the back, or you can do a card with a message inside. And you could decorate the front too. Now, that is a big part of making this breakfast. There's mixing it, there's cooking it, then there's preparing it to be served. We're going to put fruit along the side of the plate so that we can eat it with the pancake or after the pancake or before the pancake, however we feel. And there was another ingredient Hannah insisted upon having with her pancake, for she said, no pancake is truly a pancake without it. And I totally agree. Whipped cream. All right, here you are.
What if we did half and half?
Okay, here we go. Might need my knife. Pink one is so happy it does not want to be separated from itself.
I'm gonna put a raspberry in the middle and fold it. Stay. It's not bad.
Wow. Okay, now for the My Mom is an Ocean. Hannah and I believe we have done well. So spoil your mothers on Mother's Day. If your mom got up before you and you didn't get to make her breakfast, you can make her lunch. So here is another example that I think is super important to include in my list of amazing mothers. And this is a grandmother. And the really neat thing to me about this grandmother is she's only mentioned this tiny, tiny little verse in the Bible mentions the grandmother of Timothy. Now, in the Bible, there are actually 2 books dedicated to Timothy. Timothy 1, Timothy 2. So the mention you hear, and this is all you hear, is, I see in you, Timothy, a great faith. A faith which was first in your grandmother, Lois, and then in your mother, Eunice. And I think, so that compliment that is given to Timothy, that speaks so much about the family he was raised in and the women in the family that he was raised in. Because his great faith, which allowed him to be such a powerful biblical figure, was modeled to him first by his grandmother Lois. And his grandmother Lois was apparently a great woman of faith, and so was his mother Eunice. Now, I can say this, that my children's grandmother is a great woman of faith, and I believe that the strength and conviction that I have about God comes from being raised by her. And to be able to trace that lineage of powerful women of faith, that's pretty cool. So even though Lois is only mentioned in this tiny little verse, I think there's a reason for that. And the big reason is because grandmothers can be super women of faith. And if you are blessed enough to have a grandmother who emulated her faith, so your mother could be a woman of faith, so you could be a person of faith, then you are blessed indeed. So on Mother's Day, when you honor your mother, give a little thought to your grandmothers, because it's possible, I don't know your family situation, but is it possible that your grandmothers were great women of faith? Or even if they weren't, what wonderful things did your grandmother do to help your mother become the woman that she is today, which has helped her with you and helping you to grow to be the person that you will be someday? Honor your grandmothers on Mother's Day, because grandmothers are super important.